is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 296. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined as always by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him E. Sitting here on a Sunday, I think positive, upbeat, Austin, Texas, but a exhausted North End. Follow up on that for me. How you feeling?
Exhausted is the right word here. When we got back from the airport, I think all three of us, our buddy AG, obviously, who was with us, was like, first thing we're doing, taking a nap. And when I was sleeping and you're like, we got to record around like 6, I think I woke up around like 5:30 and I was just like, I felt like I could have slept just like till tomorrow. And I woke up and, I can be a little grumpy if I don't get enough sleep. But it's hard to be grumpy with the trip that we had, the result that the team got, and even more so, I think the competitive fire and nature that the team showed in that atmosphere last night was just incredible. It was awesome. So I'm really looking forward to this one, looking forward to getting into it, recapping this game and a little bit of our trip, I guess. And
why not?
Pull back the curtain a little bit. But yeah, excited to look forward to it, or excited and looking forward to it, and then ready to go to bed.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will make haste here. And of course, we'll recap the Miami match. Got a little boy factory action this weekend that I did not know was going on up there in Dallas. Sounded like it was an exciting one, so we'll recap that as well. We have some listener questions and a little bit of news off the top before we get into the rest of episode 296. Just want to remind you all, as we always do, that you can support the show financially for free just by downloading the audio versions of our episodes. So toggle on auto downloads wherever you get those podcasts, and then you can support the show that way. And you won't have to think about it again. You can go the extra mile and rate review the show wherever you get those pods. And if you are watching on the YouTube channel, shout out to the people once again, over 600 subs on YouTube. If you have not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button because it does help us grow the show. And you can also hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, here on episode 296, hit the thumbs up, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords, atone for your sins, Inter Miami fans. Wash yourselves clean in the waters of Guilherme Biru. So, E, before we get into the weekend that was out in South Florida, we did have the Open Cup draw for the round of 32. Took place Thursday morning as we were sauntering our way through the Austin airport. And wouldn't you know it, this matchup was not on my bingo card. I was looking more in Texas or to our west, but we will go east to take on Louisville City FC. So when we put this graphic out, the game could have been either on the 13th or 14th. This game has now been finalized. April 14th, 6 p.m. Central, Austin FC at Louisville City FC, the Damien Derby.
I love the draw. I'm going to be honest with you. I love it, and I also am a little nervous about it because I know that they're a quality team, and playing in their stadium is going to be rocking and everything. When we were discussing all sorts of Austin FC takes last night, we thought some rotation. So definitely hoping that Damien gets some time in this Louisville matchup and see how that goes. But very excited about this draw. I think it's a good one.
I would be legit mad, I think, if Damien was not in that for that game. Especially now, right? We expected him to be the starter, at least to begin the Open Cup run here this year. So obviously we'll address that game more next week, man. That is the midweek next week, because after this week, we can potentially go double game weeks from there until the World Cup break. Because if you advance past Louisville, we do have our 4-team pod here. The other side of our bracket is Houston and El Paso. So potentially, if El Paso can pull that upset, you could get the rematch. That would be at Q2. But if Houston takes care of business, we will go to Houston. And that match would be scheduled, I believe, 3 days after we host Houston in our first Copa Tejas match of the season, which I got to tell you, man, I don't like playing our rivals back-to-back like that. No. I don't care what competition, what were scrimmages, friendlies, at the park, at Q2. Like, I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Let's win this first game first, move on, then we'll assess that. But that would be an interesting chapter in the Copa Tejas lore.
Yeah, no, I mean, we took them out last year, so I'm sure they'd be wanting their get back in the Open Cup as well. Let's move into the midweek injury updates. It was later on Thursday, right? I think just after we landed, saw the news from We Are Austin TV, who were able, of course, to attend the press conference and gave us a very comprehensive breakdown of what Coach Estevez said in terms of an injury update. And it is not at all what we wanted. I actually think, did you nail every single prediction from the Wednesday episode when we did our injury speculation? Because you said no BV. We both said no Owen.
Yep. I said Taylor available, no start.
Mm-hmm.
I said Jaden available, no start.
We both missed on Dessler start.
How could I?
You got 4 out of 5.
Oh my God. I was trying to think of who the last dude was in that little competition there. And, how could I not forget?
Well, so Coach said that Brandon Vasquez is 3 or 4 weeks away here, that he's still going to have his final checkup with the team doctors, I think, in 3 weeks, which is potentially, if you go back and look at when that injury occurred in San Jose, we know that procedure on the ACL didn't take place till like a week or 2 later. So that may actually be like the 9-month mark. But at the same time, we know from the study we've cited multiple times on the show, the study we found that was actually about ACL injuries in MLS, that would be a little bit longer than the average time to return to play from that study. So again, at the end of the day, man, it still remains, as long as we get him back 100%, take all the time you need. And it appears to be 3 to 4 weeks.
I mean, frustrated for sure.
Yes.
I'd imagine BV probably is as well. And it's just the laundry list of injuries that this team has been dealing with all season long.
When Owen Wolff also, as we said, going through our speculation checklist there, Owen Wolff was not ready for this match. But Coach did say, I thought this was important context. He said Owen trained in full when he was out there this week, but he's still getting off days. Sounds like maybe 1 on, 1 off right now to, kind of aid in his recovery. He said the hope is a full week of practice this week for Owen. But number one, if I'm just playing tone doctor here, I don't think he sounded confident that was going to happen here. And I come back to the fact that we've had 18 different timelines for these guys and they keep getting pushed back. So I'll believe it when I see it.
I will too. And I think it's pretty clear that that little tidbit of information that we got from Mr. Mighty Frog there was spot on, that he was having some discomfort, a bit of a setback, because this is just taking way longer than we've been told every single time we've been told about it. So again, super frustrating. But we'll get into some more of this injury stuff during the game and everything, and how I'm feeling about the team, despite these guys being out.
Yeah. It was just to wrap up what Coach said. He said Danny has been progressing to doing some individual drills, right? I don't believe any contact stuff yet, but recovering well. And again, that's all good, but just the way the injury timelines have gone, it's well, do I believe that?
Yeah.
I kid. He said Jaden Nelson was good to go, and I found it interesting that he said he was training in full over the break. So I was saying on Wednesday that you got some crumbs, some practice footage and photos of Jaden last week, but he said that both weeks Jaden was training in full. And then Robert Taylor was a closer decision for Saturday's match, but ultimately was on the bench. And before we get into this, we did have a listener question from our buddy Johnny, and this was in response to you, I think, maybe dancing around not naming your greatest player of all time, or GOAT, as it were, where I think you said a lot of people, have Messi as their best player of all time. So Johnny said, crucial question, if not Messi, who is your GOAT?
It's Messi, for sure.
Okay. So you just didn't come across that way, huh?
The debate of the GOATs can get spirited, for sure. So I'm trying to be a little Switzerland here, but I'm definitely, I think he's the greatest player to ever step foot on the pitch. He's not my personal favorite player, but
yeah,
he's
we know really who that is, and he plays for River Plate, right?
Yeah. He's playing for Orlando shortly.
Yeah, that's true. Shit. Oh man. Well, let's get into this one
Just
and
gonna
talking. Go
want to
ahead.
jump back just quick to the injury stuff, right?
Sure.
And
Sure.
I thought you had an interesting point at the game, losing some of our PT staff, man, and our training
Yeah.
staff.
Yeah. High
And like
performance director. Yeah.
injuries are random for sure. There's
Yeah.
some randomness to it all, but the way this has been going, man, it's just not great.
It's the rehab part that I'm raising my eyebrow at this point.
Yeah,
because
and I
it
think that's
feels
fair.
like multiple guys. And again, like maybe we are being too harsh in terms of like a Vasquez timeline, because again, if it is 9 months, 3 weeks from now, then like 9 months, at least like in our basketball world, it isn't like 9 months. Anything before that is like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I just, could be going better.
Yeah.
and it's just not real. Like, it's just like 1 in, 1 out on the injury report right now.
For sure. And we got some guys dinged up last night on that shit field.
Yeah, man. And like, I don't know if it was the shit field or, the rain that started to come down in the middle of that match. But we get the lineup, and same 11 as the LAFC match, except for Guilherme Biru in there for John Bell. And we had what I consider a distinct honor of hanging out with Goss and his lovely wife, Megan. So it was great to meet Megan and great to hang out with them. And, as soon as we saw the lineup and Biru was the only change, we started laughing and joking with David, because he's, that's maybe one of the kind of lesser known names on the Austin roster that does come to mind for some of the national pundits or fans of other teams, just because of the way Biru can get in the news with some of his antics. And we were kind of chuckling like, dude, Biru, we were watching him warm up. He's kind of, he's bobbing around the pitch and everything. Like, Biru's going to do some shit tonight. And little did we know it wouldn't take long.
Hey, I called it. I told David right there. I was like, he's going to score tonight.
Yeah,
you did. And then I was like, he also might get a red card. So just strap in.
Yep. So that was the only change. Like we mentioned, Nelson and Robert Taylor were available. So the rest of the bench, John Bell, Besard Savovic, CJ Fodre, Jean Kolmanich, Damian Loss, Mateo Djordjevic, and Mikel Dessler. He's been on the pitch. You're not Benchler anymore.
Okay. 12 minutes.
Last night he was.
12 minutes there. Yeah. Good with the lineup. We talked briefly about maybe Mirtu doesn't start here, but it was great to have him in there. I thought Christian Ramirez had a solid shift. And we were chatting again last night, talking about the season in a whole and everything, and like how odd that RSL game was and the approach and everything. And this was much more classic Nico. And the guys are comfortable in this stuff. So I was happy to see this formation and this lineup with what you have available right now.
Yeah, you certainly didn't overthink things last night, I think. There were a couple tweaks, and we'll talk about those, at least from our perception. But looking across the ball, man, number 10's out there in the middle. And we were talking to some Inter Miami fans on the train to the stadium about, what are your thoughts on Berterame? Because obviously he hasn't scored. That's been a big story. But he's not in the lineup last night. So it's not just some of those Miami fans who were like, yeah, we're not happy with it. And ultimately, when they finished bitch moaning and complaining, it was like, hey, yeah, man, well, we would take a trophy. Yeah. You guys have 3 in the last 3 years. So, cry me a river. But Berterame not in the lineup, and neither was Luis Suarez. And again, the embarrassment of riches that this club has in the attacking half. Segovia, Allende, Silvetti up there with Messi. And of course, a guy named Rodrigo De Paul right behind him. So this is still a loaded 11 for the home team.
And, I think the Berterame situation is like the one thing, or one of the things that Inter Miami is not really great at, is they don't have a ton of like elite level speed, and Silvetti is a faster option than Berterame. Yep. And so I thought you saw last night a lot of the over the top balls that we were playing were exposing their lack of speed, and the fact that they don't have that component to their game is a bit of a weakness for that club.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. And obviously we'll talk about that here as we go through this game, and we'll just pick it up right off the rip, because Austin is immediately pressing Miami back into their own defensive third right off the kickoff. and this changing ball from right to left towards Ian Frey, or left to right, excuse me, is mishandled by Frey, and it just kind of falls right into the path of Joseph Rosales, who squares it to Christian Ramirez inside the 18. And I thought he had space for a shot here. I think we screamed, shoot it. But he cuts it back. And as he does, he goes down watching it live. No call. Ball progresses to the feet of Mirtu Azuni, and then he gets taken out from behind by Segovia, and that foul is called just outside the 18. But we started getting text messages from those watching at home, and when we saw this getting back to the Airbnb last night, dude, holy shit. How is that not? And they reviewed it.
Yeah.
They reviewed it in Arlington. And if you have not seen this replay, you need to go, unless, you need to watch your blood pressure, then maybe don't. But, dude, Christian gets kicked. Like, he doesn't sell it at all. He just gets straight up kicked in the shin and then goes down because he's like, holy shit, like, I can't believe I got hit that hard. I guess.
Yeah.
But dude, it's the inconsistency with the video assisted review this year is just off the charts bad so far. And I'm sure, there's some teams and fan bases that aren't thinking about it too much because they haven't been as hard done by it as we did. But this absolutely should have been a penalty. And I don't know how you can argue against it. And I see a ton of people all across social media saying if it was the other team get under review, that it would have been called.
I'd be hard pressed not to agree with that as well. And this is a foul. I don't see how you're not changing this call after you go to the video, or you don't even go to the video monitor. You just get it in the ear there. But I mean, it's insane. Also, once you review this and you're looking at this, that you're going to like specifically not reward someone who's trying to deceive the ref, because he gets kicked hard initially and then like swept through.
Yes.
Right. Like, and then he goes down and it's like, okay, that is a classic PK. That's a foul. I don't think it was like necessarily a card, but like, I think it's a PK. It's a foul. And then the Mirtu foul.
That could have been a yellow to me. The Mirtu one could have been a yellow, I thought.
He comes in pretty hot, pretty fast, catches him right on the boot there. And I think that looks like a yellow. And like, I get maybe not throwing one out that early.
Sure.
Well, you didn't get a talking to for that because like, I think he was going right to the ear.
Sure.
But the thing with this ref, Chapman, right? Alan Chapman?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Alan Chapman.
I will say I thought he was super consistent last night in letting both teams play. There was some physicality. He was not really going to his whistle, was not really going to his pocket. So I get that, but I think these are just calls you got to make.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm just, stereotyping bald white dudes, but I kept thinking that it was Michael Van Gerwen for our darts aficionados out there, from row 18,000 where we were up there at the top of the stadium. Dude, on the free kick, immediately we're like, oh, Facu, lefty right here.
Yep.
But both Facu and Mirtu line up over it, and it is Azuni who takes a crack. Dude, he puts this off the far post, and you see the replay, too, on the rewatch, and the angle from behind the goal. I think you also have to give, like, it's a solid shot there, right? But I think you also have to give credit to Coach Nico Bosch because you see Ilya and Biru immediate, like, as soon as Azuni's running up, split little, like, kind of elevator doors there, and that opens the space in all that congestion for that shot. And, again, Mirtu, man, is just, like, cannot catch a break with this stuff. Like this, the last two games, absent the first attempt against LAFC right in front of us that we were upset about, he's been putting good efforts towards and on frame. And man, does he deserve a goal in these last two games.
He really does. And you would have to assume that eventually his luck is going to go in his favor a little bit here. This is a great rip. And outside of it being centimeters away from opening up the scoring here, I think seeing the confidence from Mirtu to want to line up over that and then put something super competent on frame that would have absolutely beat Dane Sinclair if it was a couple centimeters to the right is really good to see. And another good point we've seen some really nice things from him these last two games. And he deserves credit for that because of the stuff that he has to deal with for the things that he needed to be criticized for.
Yeah, absolutely. So jumping ahead to the 6th minute here, it's really Austin on the front foot in the opening minutes. And here they win a corner on the far side to the broadcast camera right in front of us over there in the stadium. Torres lines up over it. He whips it right into the center of the area where MLS All-Star Guilherme Biru finds about an acre of space, dude. I mean, he is wide open on this run, and Guilherme puts what I think, and I'm
Great
biased,
header.
but picture perfect headed attempt, dude, down into the ground, past Dane St. Clair for the early lead, and the first ever goal at New Stadium. So my favorite trivia question that will go down in Inter Miami's lore, despite some news articles, dude, online saying that Messi scored the first goal. And then I saw some edited headlines to scores the first goal for Inter Miami at New Stadium. It's like, okay, well, cool. But man, congrats to Biru. And look, another Facu assist. And to this point of the season, we had still not scored a goal with our feet. But I don't give a shit, dude, how we score. We just need goals.
Nope, we'll take crotch goals too. We allow them here. And another great set piece. You know, like another fantastic corner from Facu. It's whipping away from Dane St. Clair, keeps him pinned to his line. He's rooted there. And as you mentioned, picture perfect header by Guilherme, who, if you're a Guilherme fan, you knew he was going to be up and ready for this game. That's for sure. You knew he was going to be about it. Does the cheeky little celebration there with the ball under the shirt.
Yeah, maybe Biru too coming.
Shouting out the contingency of fans that we had up there that were badass. Just an awesome group of people to be with. And we put those Inter Miami fans to shame last night. But this is going to be one of my favorite, my favorite Inter Miami trivia question. Maybe David Beckham could do a 15-minute speech about it, but not read it off.
He'd have to read off his phone. Oh, man. Well, I guess that's something. What's that?
Are we going to shit in the stadium, in the atmosphere, the experience? When are we doing that? Because it needs to be talked about.
Let's do it now, because we just kind of skipped over the the lead up to this game, man. First of all, I will credit Miami, not Inter Miami, but the city for the public transportation. I know that it's not perfect there, but compared to Texas and just Austin, like the train was awesome. Like I saw multiple, like they had some bus things running on train tracks. There was all kinds of public transportation around there. So that was great. And then the stadium is a construction site still. Like they're funneling us through construction on either side. We're going through parking lots that were reportedly made, like the asphalt was laid down Thursday afternoon, so this was really pulled together in a pretty haphazard way. And Friday we see the articles in the Miami Herald and on social media talking about they don't have occupancy certificates yet. They don't have like hot food, liquor licenses. And so they got some temporary stuff, it seemed like, for all of that. But what if you did have the licenses for the food and all that? Where was the food? Because they were serving some food, but it was like hot dogs, little chicken tenders and fries. And there was just not nearly enough of it for even just a normal game, much less the first game ever at New Stadium, where there's going to be families and it's going to be sold out and people are going to get there early and stay late and all that stuff. And that was just a shit show, man. And then it starts raining and there's leaks in the roof by some of our fans. Like, I do think that building, once it is done, and the surrounding area is probably going to be pretty damn cool. And it was still a good place to watch the game, which is what we were there for. But it was very poorly executed, in my opinion. And I don't know if you want to go harder on it or not.
I mean, it was just, I was going to bring up the roof leaking and everything. Also, the fact that you can't see the Jumbotron from where we were at because there's like an inner ring with like, I don't know the terms for these things, but like it was blocking my view entirely to see the Jumbotron. Then we have the corny little opening ceremony with Beckham. That was absolutely terrible. Every time we went to get food, sold out. I agree. Once it's done, it'll be great. But like, y'all got a permit to bring in a fucking DJ after the game?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We couldn't get some actual food out there, but you got that got checked off the list.
No popcorn?
They had popcorn. I saw people with popcorn. They did, but they probably sold out. Probably didn't see it because there was probably.
I didn't see any.
Yeah. So what a nonsense way to prepare this, and like this is one of the biggest moments for the MLS, man. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Well, shout out to Christian for getting you that pastry, because you definitely needed some sustenance.
I did.
At that
Shout
point,
out to Christian for sure.
So let's pick this back up, right? Austin up 1-0. We're going crazy. I need David to send me that video of us. I saw that. That was getting a lot of love on Instagram. Oh, we were hyped. 10th minute. Messi receives the ball here with some space, and every time he did that, naturally, you clench. And he's about 10 yards inside Austin's half here, and he's able to progress it a couple touches, then picks out Segovia to his right, and that has created, as he waited for Segovia to cut from left to right, now he's created a 2-on-1 with Segovia and Frey against Biru. And so Segovia lays it off to Frey as he draws Biru in as the lone defender out there. Frey is able to get to the end line, and he pulls it back towards the spot where Messi has streaked to the exact location of this ball at an angle that allows him to just bop it right back where he came from with a ton of force on this header. And Stuver's momentum is going the opposite way. Nothing he can do about it. 1-1. And upon further review this morning, I think that Frey pass deflects off of Biru. So there was a huge element of luck to Messi getting to this ball. But of course it's him. And of course he finishes. And at that point, man, especially from where we were watching, not able to see that deflection, you kind of shrug your shoulders like, you knew he was going to get one.
Yeah.
Wish it wasn't this early, but what are you going to do? All right, it's 1-1.
Yeah, for sure. And we were getting some shit for being so pessimistic about this matchup and the scorelines that we were predicting and everything. I was definitely like, all right, he's going to get one. Again, the GOAT. But they get a little fortunate here. This definitely takes a deflection off the Biru shoulder, pops up right to Messi. Obviously not the tallest man. It goes right to him. But, as soon as that happens, David turns to me and just goes, it's crazy how he just doesn't get marked when he runs into the box. And if you watch this replay, it's Duber looking at him once, twice to try to see who's behind him. And you gotta check that, brother. You gotta log that into the database and go get a body on that, man. So they did get a little fortunate, but I think we got a little fortunate too, as we will get into later in this matchup here.
Well, and 2 minutes later, just pretty much right off the restart, Duber decides he wants to give it to his countryman there and just passes it right to Messi. And so Messi takes off, and Svatak is able to, I think Messi makes a pass here. Svatak's able to get his foot on it, and then he slips on the ball, which allows the break to continue. So pass from Duber to Messi, Svatak slips. And here it's about to be 2-1, but Austin was able to get numbers back and then eventually have 3 guys following Messi in this moment, which did allow Rodrigo de Paul to settle and pick out Tadeo Allende streaking to the near post. And Allende sends this header over the bar. And in that moment, man, I know that I've seen people talk about the most dangerous moments in the game can be those minutes after a goal is scored.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that applies here, man. And the fact that this one was not converted, I think really helped Austin, Stuver, Heinzike out there being like, guys, all right, we just gave them one. Yep. They did not convert. Let's settle back in. And I thought they did a good job of kind of regaining their composure after giving up the equalizer.
Yeah, super, super unfortunate here by Duber and Svatak for this breakaway to kind of get going. This is a really, really tough header that if that's on frame, I think it probably beats Brad near post. If he's, but that was a dangerous play for sure. And I think they were talking about on the broadcast about Austin needing to kind of bunker down here to your point. You give up a second one here, one of our score lines could have been right.
Yep. Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't.
Yeah.
2 minutes later, nice little 1-2 combination between Rosales and Facu, and then a sick ball from Torres to get Joseph to the end line. And Rosales tries to pull it back to Ramirez, who's kind of crashing that near post, and puts it just a step behind him. And so that's something that doesn't show up in the stats. You don't get a shot attempt off there, but it's another one of those chances where we're doubled over at the top of the stadium because you feel like the chances are going to be so few and far between in a match like this. And just missing on anything hurts twice as much than if you miss against a lesser team. Right. Yeah. And so this was just, heart-wrenching is maybe a little dramatic, but definitely didn't feel good.
Yeah, I mean, with the amount of emotion tied up to that game, it was kind of heart-wrenching for sure. But the build-up play here by Facu and Rosales was just beautiful. And you set this chance up that just, again, centimeters away from potentially putting something on net here. Thought you got a good shift out of Chris Ramirez. I said it, I think, at the top there, but I thought he played well. He's just really fucking slow.
Yeah. Well, it's 35.
Yeah.
17th minute. This is where we get an illegal throw-in called on Biru. Like, I don't know, man. We're calling that now. And like, I know Biru, every other game, they have to tell him to back up, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's been called for an illegal throw-in just once before, but I don't know, man. I was kind of rolling my eyes at that. And it sounded like others were too, to me. So the next minute, Austin regains possession, and they work this one all the way back to Stuver. And this is where on the rewatch, you were catching some of that with me while we were waiting for our flight this morning. And this is where I think Taylor Twellman said that Nico Estevez teams are, quote, completely competent in possession. And I want to be like, you could not have been more clear that you have not been watching our games. And again, I kid a little bit.
Yeah,
but,
that was just that's a lot of confidence. Completely competent.
Yeah,
we just passed the ball to Messi.
yeah. Well, so working this one all the way back to Stuver, and then Stuver plays it over the top, right into the path of Rosales. And I thought watching this live that he was playing it like he thought he was going to be ruled offside. I think you disagreed with me there, but either way. A Miami defender catches up to Joseph here, but not before he's able to find Facu running free on the right. And as Torres takes the shot with his left, Mikael slides in to block it out for a corner. And so on that corner, Torres puts it right towards Ramirez at that back post, but Mikael clears it away, kind of popping up at the last second. We were like, oh, it was about to just fall right to Christian. And so Mikael clears it out for a second corner. That second corner, Azuni walks to take it, and I look at you like, huh? And you just go, short. Yep, they played it short to Facu, and Facu puts the moves on Ian Frey down there, so he's able to kind of just get a closer corner almost here on the run, and he puts it in towards the back post where, dude, Guilherme rises up and almost heads home his second here, but jumping back to the ball over the top. This is something we saw early and often from Austin. Stuver, some of the midfield, Ilie was trying some of those long balls, Sfati as well. And it just kind of continued the theme, or getting us back into that place where we are settled defensively and able to create some sort of, semblance of an offensive threat, which is just not something that we see consistently, especially against a team that's one of the league's best and the defending champion. So it was another positive passage of play.
I mean, some of these balls from Stuver last night were absolutely fantastic, just dropping them right in there. And then the threat of Rosales and Facu up front was fantastic. I mean, I don't think he thought he was off here. I don't. I think obviously you see the reaction. We see Stuver in the back kind of like drop to his knees, like, damn it.
When Mikael blocked it.
Yeah, he's like, damn, that was an opportunity here. I'm not sure that he feels like he was offsides here. And this was a good defensive play by a guy that you pay a shit ton of money for to make a good defensive play.
Yeah.
And then the short corner, again, generating unique looks from different angles, from different styles. It's been fantastic all year with these set pieces.
20th minute, you get Lionel Messi in some space on the run. And Nico Dubersarski catches up to him, jumps in front to shield the ball, and wins a foul going the other way. And I don't know, man, that got us pumped up up there in the stands. And on the next possession, ball pings around the midfield off of a Stuver clearance as we played it back to Brad. And then Rosales and Facu combine again in the midfield after they won that ball coming down to spring Facu into some space. And then he plays just a silky through ball with the absolute perfect weight on it from left to right for Ramirez, who lays it off to an open Mirtu Azuni, but puts it just a step behind him. So Mirtu has to slow up. He still gets a shot off, dude, that just goes barely over the top corner of the target for a goal kick. But, dude, that Facu pass was fucking sexy, dude.
Incredible pass. I liked how Duber tapped Messi on the back after he picked up the foul. I was like, all right, good for you.
Messi didn't want anything to do with Dubersarski.
No, he's like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
This ball by Facu, man, unreal. the pace, the weight on it, the curve that it hits, like, good Lord, great ball. And then another great shot by Mirtu, man, who's been putting some really threatening stuff into the zone. And I think that's encouraging.
Yep. 28th minute, Torres pressing Mikael here one-on-one, and Facu slips down. It had been raining. I want to say like right around when the first 2 goals were scored. Sky kind of opened up there. So the field is extra slick at this moment, and he immediately winces in pain, gets to his feet, clearly uncomfortable, and grabbing at his groin there. And after about 20 seconds, Austin wins the ball back, and Facu has a chance to like take off here and gets the ball and looks all right running, but then gets tackled, loses the ball, and goes right back to looking hurt. So after a few more seconds, he takes a seat. Chapman stops the game, and Facu goes to the sideline as Jaden Nelson begins to get loose down on the end line. But they wrap Torres up on his groin there, and he ends up re-entering the game for the time being. So it was just, again, a nervy couple of minutes there, just keeping your eyes on Facu the entire time and trying to pick up, like, just how hurt is this guy?
Yeah, I mean, you could see him wince a couple more times in this first half before he gets subbed out for sure. So I think he battled through a little bit of some difficulty with that groin potentially, or hamstring, what have you.
I think Coach said groin after the game.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. But again, I'm going to be a little bit optimistic on this one. If he was really bad, I think you get him out of there immediately. But to get him out at half, I think was the right call. I think you said that as well. Like, you got to sub him off at half here, just because we can't afford to lose to him at that point. You know what I mean? Like, we're calling up Mo Badawia now. No, like,
not a shot at Mo, but come on.
No, for sure. Very nervy moment, man. And it just would have been just our luck, for this to happen.
Yep.
But tons of guys were slipping because the pitch was shit. And like, the rain didn't help, but it still wasn't good in the first place because guys were falling before that as well.
Yep. 34th minute, DePaul finds Messi at the edge of the box, and that sends a shiver down your spine. And Messi turns, jukes Biru, and gets to the end line before kind of back dribbling almost into space to find Silvetti, who's about 14 yards out. Then his shot gets blocked off the line by Svatok, but Miami retains possession here. A little offensive rebound, and the ball ends up back at the feet of Matteo Silvetti, this time at the top of the 18, and he rips a shot with much more power, but this one is right at Brad, and Stuver is able to parry that away, and the danger is cleared for the moment. 3 minutes later, you get Maxi Falcone cleating Azuni's boot. Foul called, but no card. And I thought on this one, there should have been a foul called, but I think he gets his card eventually for a softer foul. So again, I think going back to your point that Alan Chapman had a pretty solid game in terms of his consistency. I think my issue was more with the VAR not calling him over for the first foul.
I agreed with that. And we're talking about dudes with a little bit of reputation in this league. Falcone is a guy that has a little bit of a reputation. So he got the talking to here on this initial one, but I could have seen yellow. I'm not too upset about it because, again, I thought that we took some hard fouls as well.
Well, one thing that David was mentioning to us about Falcone is that, like, he was like, it's crazy how much guys opponents love this dude. He was like, I know, I do too, but it's like, you can watch these guys, and I did as the match went on. Like, he'll go into a hard challenge with a guy, and then they'll get up and, like, a little buddy, like, all right, good job, good competition there. And I thought you saw that a little bit last night as the match went on. So
he's
after
fun.
That, no,
the hair's great.
Top 3 hair behind only Jaden, maybe.
Hair's great. Hair's great.
38th minute after that foul, Allende approaches the Austin 18-yard box from the right side, and Allende crosses the ball to the head of Silvetti, who nods it towards the far post, and Stuver, full stretch, pushes it out for a corner, and looked like live and on the replay that it was going just wide either way, but much better safe than sorry here. And Austin was able to clear that corner out. And I thought at this point of the game is when there was a little frustration maybe starting to build on the Miami side of things.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it. They wanted this game. They wanted to win this game, and they wanted to put it on us in this matchup to open up this stadium. You got all the people there. Obviously, all eyes for the casual MLS fans were on this matchup, and they wanted this one for sure. So they started to press a little bit, which they can do.
Yeah. 40th minute here, Stuver rolls it out to Ilie, and the captain bops it over a line to Rosales, who definitely brings it down, whirls around to his left, and he's in a foot race with Falcone and gets to that ball and plays Guilherme Biru, who's on an underlap down that left sideline. And Biru plays it across the 18 as he gets into that final third. Tamir Tuizuni, who lays it off beautifully for Facu Torres crashing the box, and his shot goes off the post and back out wide into the field of play. And watching this replay back today, Mirtu wanted it back on the give and go. He's wide ass open, but you also have to take that shot, I think, if you're Facu. And you have to finish this, man. Like on the rewatch, the defender, I want to say it's Mikhail again coming in there. He's much closer to Facu than I clocked watching that play live. You still got to finish this, man. Like if you are the guy, you finish it.
Yep.
And again, I think that the jury is still out on whether or not Facu is and can be that guy for us. But this was a data point in the no column in this moment.
Yeah, for sure. You got him.
He's hurt. He's hobbling around out there.
Yep.
Like I get that.
Yep. I didn't, like to the Mirtu thing, right? Just because a lot of attention always gets placed on him. He's right. He's wide open.
Yeah.
Facu is also right for shooting this. Both of y'all can be right in this moment. The give and go would have been really super sexy to kind of cheekily put that through there, and hopefully we would have scored on that one. But you're looking at this first half here, man, and like in totality, and it's just like this fight from Austin right from the jump was just really impressive to see. The guys were super engaged and up and ready for this matchup and not scared of the moment at all. Like we were talking about, I wrote in the article about is this Brad Stuver's like biggest game ever? You know what I mean? Like we talked about that before the show, and like to be Dubersarski, man, you know what I mean? To be out there with Messi, obviously your countryman, just like the moment was huge. And like, if you are going to be that guy for us, Facu, you got to seize those moments and bury those. But man, you could have had 3 goals in the first half. We're talking about getting our ass beat. There was real potential for you to have 3 goals in this first half.
Yeah, I definitely do not disagree there. And going back to you talking about, or our conversation that now bringing up about Duber and playing against Messi, you also see like CJ Fodre posting today, a picture of him as a kid holding up a Messi card and stuff. And I certainly can understand how cool this is for it's such a unique situation, right? To be in, at best, the 6th best league in the world, probably 8th, 9th, or 10th, right? And like I always just try to think about it in basketball terms, where like if you're playing in the Portuguese first division and LeBron comes to play for 3 years, like that's the moment of everybody's life over there. So it's a really cool occurrence for not just the Austin guys, but everybody who gets to compete against Miami. Like it's not all sunshines and rainbows with those guys in the league. Like we want to win too and all that, but it's a spectacle, and I can appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So 41st minute, Stuver just not under any pressure at the top of his 18-yard box, and he picks out a diagonal run from Rosales and puts it on a platter over everybody. Falcone's able to jar the ball loose as Rosales tries to bring it down, but I just wanted to note that just another point in the Stuver distribution bucket this game. It was great, man, and especially taking advantage of the what coach pointed out in the post-game presser, and then I was looking for on the rewatch, the man marking that Miami was employing last night and the high line that came with it. Our line of 3 up top, right? It just over and over again. And to your point that you brought up earlier, that one thing that Inter Miami does lack is depth in terms of speed, right? They don't have a ton of guys that are burners, and they made us look like a team that had a lot of burners, and we know we don't. So, I thought that was just an interesting tweak, or even just something that whether you saw it on film right before and that was part of the game plan, or it's something that you adjusted to the way Miami was playing. I thought that was well done.
I totally agree. And I would have to say that from a distribution standpoint, this was Stuver's best game. I mean, he hit 3 or 4 of these that were just like absolutely perfect. And it's something, a wrinkle that worked in this matchup. You were continuously able to access this pass.
So we did get that Falcone yellow for a late challenge towards Heinzike on the sideline. I think Brendan, kind of made a meal of that, so to speak. But again, it's late challenge. Already got the talking to. So that was kind of the last thing there in the first half. Coming out of the break, first of all, Miami did not come out of the break.
Oh, my God.
These dudes were like 3 minutes late getting onto the field after the halftime clock ended. I think Ilie was sitting there like telling Alan Chapman, dude, start the fucking game, dude.
Yep.
What are these guys doing? And like that is like, I took that some type of way. Like, who do you guys think you are? I understand who you are.
Yeah.
But also, like, come on, man, we're here. We're fucking playing right now. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, dude. And I was talking to Goss about it, and he says that Mascherano's done this before.
Really?
Like, they've done this before. And I couldn't believe it. We're lined up. We're out there. We're ready for this half to start. Ilie asked Chapman to go.
Yeah. So I don't know what was going on there. We did get, though, Jaden Nelson in for Facu at the half. And then on the other side, you saw Lujan come in for Frey at the right back. So jumping ahead to the 53rd minute here, where Inter Miami wins a corner and they take it short. And as they try to whip it around the top of the box from left to right, the ball finds the foot of Messi, and he just gets dispossessed by Joseph Rosales. Clean as hell. Joe takes off down the left side, finding Mirtu, who's making a diagonal run, with Jaden Nelson streaking free in the middle of the park, and Mirtu squares it to him, playing this nice ball around Noah Allen. I had to watch the replay a couple times. I thought it might have taken a deflection off of Allen. After watching all the angles they could show us, I think Mirtu just puts this right into the path of Jaden, and so he's one-on-one with Dane St. Clair, puts it past him, pings it off the near post, and in. Don't care how it goes in, man. First Austin FC goal for Jaden Nelson. Austin regains the lead. And we're going nuts, dude.
Pandemonium. Absolute pandemonium. Great ball by Mirtu. We've seen him in the past make some wrong decisions in those types of moments. This is a great pass and great finish by Jaden, obviously coming on and being so impactful. Goss singing his praises often last night. And I was like, damn, I didn't think you thought that highly of him, but he really likes him as a player, and happy to have him. And now you're up 2-1, and we're kind of looking around like, oh shit, like what's happening right now? We're about to be like something magical. Yeah. And then the little Miami fans, they get going a little bit more because we had been going hard for about 55 minutes or what have you, and got a little interesting, got a little spicy.
Well, and hey, our first goal from somebody's foot this year, so you break that streak.
There we go.
You love to see it.
First foot goal in April.
Yeah.
April?
It's only April 4th.
Yeah.
58th minute, you get Berterame and Yannick Bright in for Ayala and Allen. And they come in after a foul by Dubersarski on Messi just outside the Austin 18. So it's tight butthole time as Messi lines up over it from about 20 yards out to Stuver's left post. And Messi rips it to the far post and just wide. And I do think Brad had it covered, but there was so much pace on that shot. He could have got the touch to it and it still might have gone in. So again, we were fortunate that some of these Miami shots, and a barrage is coming the final half hour here, that some of those, they just weren't accurate enough.
You got a little fortunate last night, that's for sure. But you had already paid your dues to the soccer gods in this matchup by coming out, setting the tone the way that you did, handling your business, getting plenty of good opportunities. We said he could have scored 3 goals in this first half. You come out of the second half ready to play. The other team was not ready to fucking play, and you punished them for it. So I think, a little karma, soccer gods would have you, a nice little sacrifice, whatever you have to do. Shout out to Brian, who sacrificed both Facu and Jaden, or Biru and Jaden, for his best ball team, and then they both score. So we appreciate that. Dues were paid for sure. But again, man, we say it often, and it's usually when it's something negative about this team. That this is a fickle game, and goals change games. Going back to that, and
the philosopher. Joshua Wolf.
You found a way, man. You found a way. You punished them out of the gate. That was fucking awesome to see. And I bet they felt extra stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
60th minute. So 2 minutes after he came on, you get a yellow card to Yannick Bright, take foul on Azuni to prevent Austin from getting another counterattack. In the next minute, off a Miami throw in their own defensive third, Dubersarski wins the ball, and it trickles to Ilie, who just zings one in behind to Mirtu, and he tries to dribble St. Clair, and keeper gets a touch to it, and then they collide, and it goes out for a goal kick. And this, I think, was the moment of the night where I thought Mirtu could do better.
Agreed.
But can he? Because how many times have we seen him in this situation and, like, he can't chip the keeper, he can't dribble him, he can't just fucking shoot it around him. Like, this was the one moment on the rewatch where I just kind of allowed myself to fall back into what I have thought about Mirtu overall really since last October. And not to take away from if he plays the way he has the last two games, the rest of the first half of the season, that's great. But still, it's just I would not argue too hard with somebody who's saying, okay, but what is he doing in these games where it looks better? Cool. What is it getting us?
Understood. I mean, the guy, he's under the microscope for sure. And we know the bag is limited. We really just do. Like it's a limited bag. And I still do think he can do better than this here.
Yeah.
Speaking
of the bag, dude, there was one play in the first half, I believe, on the rewatch that didn't make it into the notes, but Mirtu, like, splits two guys, spins around another, dribbles past two guys, and they end up having to tackle it out of bounds. But, like, he did, like, not something we see a ton, but these last two games with him getting the ball more in the midfield, like, we've seen him have more dribble moves than I've seen in the year and a half that he's been here.
Agreed.
So 64th minute here, it's Messi approaching Guilherme one-on-one, and Messi dekes towards the center of the pitch, and then a double and triple team arrives on Messi, and his shot gets blocked by Heinzike, but that ball falls to Silvetti, and his shot is blocked away by Stuver. Messi's able to run it down, and he finds Rodrigo De Paul like 5 yards from net, and De Paul scuffs it, man, and Stuver's able to just get down and cover it up. But some luck there for Austin at the end of the sequence, because De Paul was like, if he just gets a hit on it, that is also probably a goal.
Well, if we're talking about dudes with limited bags, as someone who's an Athletic Madrid fan.
An Athletic Madrid fan?
Sorry.
Die hard.
I'm a huge fan now. Come on.
You're just a Griezmann fan.
And someone who has to play with Atletico Madrid in FIFA all the time. I know DePaul doesn't have a shot like this.
Yeah. 2 minutes later, Austin breaks through the midfield and find themselves on a 3-on-3 break, and Azuni slides it out to Nelson, who just mixes Lujan to the end line, and Jaden's cross to like kind of the top of the six just deflects off the boot of, I think, Ramirez's defender there and out to the right, and then the threat is kind of neutralized. Miami then goes the other way for a sequence that ends up with Stuver saving a Messi shot out for a corner. But, man, this was another, again, you don't get a shot here, so there's no big chance created. There's no XG from this, but this was similar to the first half where you're seeing Ramirez cut right to left, and we're just not able to make that connection. This was a better pass than that first effort in the first half, but still just doesn't come off. So on that corner, just to finish this off, Sabovic and Bell come on for Ilie and Biru, and the commentators bring it up on the broadcast. I saw in some group chats bringing up that this is a no-no usually. Like, we've heard that before. You don't make defensive subs on the set piece. And Goss was also saying it to us, like, are they going to do this? And, yep, they're gonna. And so luckily we were able to clear out the danger. But that was, in, I think, 180 minutes of good coaching here, the way that the team has been set up, some of the adjustments we've seen in game in the last two. This was a moment that's a little bit of a head scratcher, I think, just in terms of, in kind of the general unwritten rule there of managing your defensive substitutions.
I mean, and this is when you really start to take on a ton of water. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, and you're not happy seeing number 14 come into the game.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Okay, well, I'm gonna, because anytime he did anything positive last night, I was screaming, Sabovic! We got to give this guy, we got to give him some support, man.
Look, man, shout out to the woman in front of me who, as soon as he came in, she just turns to me and goes, I fucking hate Savovich. And I was like, your kid's right there.
Look, she's trying to teach him young, teach him right.
Hey.
Those kids are going to know ball.
And then, like, to your point about screaming out Savovich, he has some nice pass or a decent pass a little later. She just kind of like turns to me and he's like, oh.
So 72nd minute here. It's Austin playing it out of the back and able to work it to Savovich, who, in my notes, he plays a great through ball into the path of Jaden Nelson down the right. And as Jaden gets to the edge of the box, there's a challenge from a defender that dislodges the ball and sends Nelson to the ground. No call on the replay. No issue for me there. Savovich wins it back. Is this the best 30 seconds of his Austin career? He swings it to Rosales, who plays a Zuni in, and he's got Ramirez and Nelson with him in a 3-on-2, but fucking Mikhail, man. Potential probable goal-saving tackle here to get it out for a throw. And like, I think you just have to credit the center back here because there's not much Mirtu can do in this situation.
He's a really, really good defender, man. Yeah, shout out Savovich, bro. Shout out Savo here.
73rd. Done? Okay. 73rd minute, Suarez comes on for Segovia, and 2 minutes later, now it's Miami playing out of the back. Some intricate passing down the right, gets the ball to the foot of Messi, and he drives forward while both Heinzike and Svatak just continue to backpedal. So Messi gets into the 18 untouched and fires a shot that goes just wide at the near post. And again, not the last time we're going to say it, but another instance of Austin getting lucky that the greatest player of all time was off the mark in this moment. And like we were saying up there, dude, it's like any sport, running backs coming at you. You're a fast break. Stop. Somebody's got to stop the ball. And this seemed like a lapse or just a failure to communicate between the two center backs.
Yep. Fatigue setting in a little bit as well, but good Lord, you could not let this dude have that much space, just get right into a super dangerous zone, then just leave Brad out to dry. If this, like you said, if he was more on point last night. Look, we talked about, the injuries and everything that has accumulated for this team right now and how we're missing so many key contributors. But man, this team is just building some real character over these last two games. And like, I am excited to see what it looks like when you have that kind of character foundation. And then you mix back in the best players on our team. We're missing two of them. So once we get those guys back into the mixture here, obviously we're going to have to practice a little patience, but the character and the fight that this team was showing last night and in the LAFC match has been really, really impressive and fun to watch. And despite this error, you still fucking held on. Yeah.
Well, you say two, I say three best players with Danny, Owen, and BV. And in this moment, in the second half, it's four because Faku's off.
Yep.
So,
and I mean, we still think Des was one of our best players when he plays.
Is he gonna play? God damn it!
I cannot believe he didn't get. I can't believe he didn't
at all.
I can't believe it.
And I was saying in this moment too, where like I'm not upset that CJ is coming in for Ramirez in the 76, but I was wondering, when do we get Dessler? Because you would think if he was able to play last week, and I guess coach just wanted to ride with Gallagher. Gally was doing fine.
Gally was fine, and maybe it was part of this speed component that we were trying to lean into for this matchup. I'm not entirely sure, but I mean, the obvious answer seems to be that he's not 100%.
Yeah, sure. So CJ comes in for Christian Ramirez, and right after the sub, Gallagher wins an Austin throw with some tenacious defense in his own defensive corner there right in front of us, and he acknowledges the supporting crowd there and just made our two sections go even louder than we were at that point of the game.
That one got me good. That one got me real good. And, I've had my comments about Johnny and his play at times, but again, another dude who plays super fucking hard all the time. And when he got this tackle here, earned that throw, I just, fuck yeah. Like big one that was like really in there. So that was great to see, man. We showed out. I think, we were talking with B last night, and I think we helped a little bit. We didn't hurt the team with the support and the contingency that we showed up with.
For sure. Well, in 80th minute, there is a fullback jogging to the middle to get subbed in, and it is Jean Kolmanich and not Mikhail Dessler. So he comes in for Joseph Rosales. 81st minute, CJ finds himself on the ball after a wayward Miami pass, and his controller dies. Like, it just, and I think what I said in the moment was, didn't have time to workshop something like that. But I think I said like that he's playing at next pro speed in that moment.
Yes.
And because Yannick Bright sprints in, just takes it right off him.
Yeah.
And Miami gets a shot that's deflected out for a corner right off that turnover. And that corner is served into the near post where it skips off Bertarame's head and just falls right to the boot of Suarez, who's by himself on the back post, and bangs it home 2-2. This is where I started to get upset and really turned up because the Miami fans all around us start chanting Messi in a goal that he's not involved in. And I think I've yelled, yo, you guys are dorks. Like, because that was the lamest shit of all time.
Yeah.
Like, look, he's the greatest player ever. But get off his dick for a second.
Yeah.
Just for a second. Holy cow, man. But 2-2, and like, I don't know if this was gamesmanship or not by Suarez, because as this corner's being played, he's like looking at the trainers on the end line that are, warming up the subs and like asking for rap for his groin or maybe his hamstring, something there in the groinals. And he, then he's just by himself. So I don't know if that made like a John Bell or somebody who's supposed to be marking him just kind of lose sight of him in that moment. Because I do think I saw him on the replay go and actually get some rap after he scores the goal. But we were so close. We were so close to a win here.
You really were. I mean, Suarez has done worse for wins, that's for sure. So I wouldn't put it past him. Yeah. And we've been talking about being fortunate with some of the Messi plays here, talking about being fortunate with some of these other attempts that Miami had, but this was a fortunate one for them. Skips off Bertarame's head, and it goes right to a professional all-time goal scorer.
Yeah,
and
another one of the greatest.
Yeah, that's what he does. I know he's unlikable as shit. Yeah. But that dude, when he was in his prime, he could fucking play. But good God, I mean, at this point, they're sending 8-9 dudes fucking forward. Like the full-on press is on here, and I talked about it in the article where it's like, can you bunker against this team? Because eventually they crack you. Like eventually you're on the back heel. On the back heel is just get overwhelmed by the talent. But they also got a little fortunate here that I think Kolmanich is just pinned to that near post, keeping him onside.
Yeah. 84th minute here. Austin does have some possession and kind of probing around that Miami penalty area. And Sabovic tries to swing it to Azuni, and there he is. Just not enough on it. Miami going the other way. Silvetti finds Messi, who assesses the situation as Duber engages him defensively, and Messi whips a changing ball to nobody. That is the worst pass I've ever seen him make, and we will take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
2 minutes later, it is Messi again playing Tadeo Allende through, and as Allende gets to the end line, he crosses a ball off John Bell's elbow, shouts for a handball from the crowd. No dice for the home side, but Miami retains possession, and they float a ball towards that left post. Over the top, Gallagher gets like tripped up between these two Miami players, which leaves Silvetti open for a chance, and he sends it over. That should have been a goal.
That should have been a goal. Johnny's trying to draw a foul here, but you got to read the room of this matchup. That ref was not giving that call. And I know that Johnny's already at a disadvantage with his stature and everything like that, but you got to find a way to try to box out here and stay on your feet, because that ref was not giving any sort of calls like that all night long.
87th minute, Pinter comes in for Silvetti after that miss, and now both teams are out of subs. 2 minutes later, set piece chance for Miami, like 22 yards from net, and Messi flips it up into the arm of Sabovic to win that chance. So Messi lines up over the free kick. Very similar spot as the free kick chance earlier in the half, and this time he goes near post, hits the post, bounces back into play, and Luis Suarez puts it home. Fireworks go off. Miami fans start pointing at us, and we're sitting there like pointing to them. Look at the field. The flag, he was way offside.
Way offside.
And this was maybe my favorite moment with the Austin fans, because we started chanting Messi, Messi right back at them, and they were quiet as shit. So we get Sorry, go. You got anything on that? I mean,
No, he was
we
just,
were having fun at that point.
yeah. I mean, I was just finger wagging at him like, nope, no, and it was blatantly offside.
Yeah, it's way
But
offside, dude.
look, man, not a lot of we're not soccer pros experts here, but a lot of those Miami fans, they're there for one dude and one experience, and there's not a whole lot of soccer IQ. I'm not going to get on a pedestal here, but good Lord, man. When you're chanting the wrong dude's fucking name.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, and like I was making the comment to you that I have more respect for the people who are wearing the old jerseys with the old sponsor, because that means you were here when they were shit.
Yeah, you were
right?
us.
Yeah.
We see you. You are seen.
So there's 5 minutes of stoppage given, and in the third minute, Miami is all over the Austin final third still here as we're just trying to get out of there. And in this moment, a deflection falls to Messi, who tries to beat Stuver to his left, and Brad gets down quickly to push it back into the field of play. What a fucking save, man. I mean, he was on all night, but this was the icing on the cake.
Absolutely. The two that went past him, there's nothing he could have done about either of them, but he kept some out. That's for damn sure.
And then in that final minute, you got Falcone driving forward, who was not only impressive defensively, dude, the ball at his feet. And maybe it's that point of the game, and we've got some subs in as well, but he's good. And he slides it to Pinter, who puts it across the face of net, and nobody can get a touch to it. Miami runs it down, stays in possession. Another cross comes in from that right side, and Falcone gets his head to it. Everybody's up there at this point, and he puts it just wide of the far post. And, dude, if he puts that on target, I do not think Brad is getting to that one. But after that, I mean, we get a goal kick. Brad boots that out of bounds. Final whistle blows. And looks like Ilya exchanged a handshake with Messi, but we're being a little pouty in Miami last night, dude.
He was not happy. We talked about how bad they wanted this game, and I think you saw from some of these misses, not from the more tenured kind of super established all-time greats that are on this Miami team. Some of these misses, I think the moment got to him a little bit. Brand new stadium, it's packed. You want to score, you want to get on that score sheet and everything, and some tight buttholes on that Miami side. But yeah, they were not pleased, and that point felt like a win for Austin. And you didn't have it on there, but I want to bring it up and I want to talk about it a little bit, just because there's a play later where Azuni just flat out throws his body in front of a shot attempt that I think was coming off of Messi's foot. And that type of effort kind of encapsulated this entire mentality for this team to close out this game, because we only had the ball for a minute, maybe in that last 20 to 15 minutes of that game, and just taking on so much pressure and water, and to just find a way to block shots and sacrifice your body to make sure that you keep this 2-2 draw was awesome. And you got a little fortunate. We also had a little bit of misfortune as well. I don't think if you're a Miami fan, you can look at the attempts that Austin generated and feel super good about your defense.
Yeah, I agree. 34% possession for Austin at the end of this one, and it was 29% in that second half. Ooh. 28 shots to 9 in favor of Miami, but just 8 to 3 on target in favor of Miami. Austin created 2 big chances, converted both of them. 7 corner kicks to 3 in favor of Miami, and on FOTMob's XG model, you get 1.68 XG for Austin, 2.94 for Inter Miami, but the expected goals on target, 2.1 for Austin, 2.15 for Miami, and that feels right to me.
It does. The 28 number seems super overwhelming. There was a ton of block shots. How many did we have last night?
6 blocks for us, yeah.
Wow, I thought that would have been a little bit higher. That's quite the map there.
Yeah, well, and you also, you're looking at these ASA stats, so 14 shots on target because you add those 6 blocks in there. And Crazy. We get 2 additional shots on target as well. But, 19 of those 20, they've clocked 27 shots here. 19 of those were average or poor XG chances on the ASA model. You see, not surprised to see Messi leading the G+ ratings there. And speaking of ratings, right, we go to our game score here in the North End, right? That is our average of the numeric emoji reactions in our Discord after all of these matches. So our Patreon members react with a 1, which would be the worst, from 1 through 5. 5 would be the best. on how they feel about the match. And game score from Saturday night against Miami comes in at a 3.94. So just shy of last week's or 2 weeks ago against LAFC, which was a 4 flat on the game score. But these two games, both draws and both well out in front in terms of the game scores from the young season so far.
I think this was a 5 performance. I think the atmosphere you were walking into, how bad they wanted that game, the lack of talent that we had available to us and the talent discrepancy overall, and to go out there and punch them in the mouth right to start out this game and be like, we're here, we're not afraid of this moment, and then to do it again at the start of the second half and then to hold on just made it a really, really impressive draw. I mean, has to be on the shortest of lists for best draws Austin's ever pulled off. It was an impressive performance, and the atmosphere was awesome with all the fans and everything. We showed out, man. Like, we really did.
Yeah, I mean, for me, dude, and I know I said this in the heat of the moment right after the final whistle as well, but it's still holding for me today. I think that was the best draw in our club's history. And I think it certainly depends on how you weight Copa Tejas, right? This is the 2-2 draw against Dallas, right? I think it was 2-2. But when you secured your first Copa Tejas and Ruben Gabrielson's doing the worm and Alex Ring's yelling at Dallas security and we're raising the trophy in their parking lot and all that, I get it. But just from an in-between the line standpoint and no, fan trophies and all that stuff, rivalries, like, really impressed. I was really, really impressed. Top to bottom, coaching staff, starters, subs, everybody played their role. Just about, I think, to the best of their ability. And clearly, we're not fucking around when we predict 3-1, 4-1 losses.
Yeah, no.
Like, we did not have any expectations of going in there and getting a result. And we'll certainly take it. But again, I think, like, for me, dude, like, I respect, like, compared to 3 weeks ago following RSL, I respect this team so much more now. And, like, maybe that's wrong. Like, I still think this team is a good team when fully healthy. Top 6, potentially higher in the West. That type of pace when we get all of our guys back. But we have to see it.
Yep.
And to do that, you have to get healthy. And we just may never be that, certainly before the World Cup break. Like, I was saying a lot to you guys last night, like, I'm excited for preseason number 2 that we're going to get, in the World Cup break. I think that is a blessing in disguise for us, this super long break, the way things have broke for us in the first portion of the season. But again, I want to just go back to, like, the level of respect that has raised for me personally with this group of guys and coaching staff the last 2 weeks. Just after the way they responded after Real Salt Lake, man, how they battled the last 2 games, and they probably deserve 4 points instead of 2 from these 2 games. And there were 6 there for you, if you get a couple more breaks.
Yep.
And so the next step is the consistency, and that's across the board. And clearly you can't expect to never lose again. Like, that only works in Shoresy. So, like, but from the coaches to the starters to the fringe guys on the senior roster, right? The level of expectation to me should be what we've seen the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And playing the leagues, like, you might raise your eyebrow at me saying that and say, well, 2 draws, what are you talking about? But it's like the context of playing the league's best 2 draws with a handful of guys who are clearly your best players not available. And so that's what I'm looking for headed into the World Cup break over the next 9+ league games and then the Open Cup games, however many we're able to play. And, like, also, how about one time before the break, we beat the shit out of a lesser team? Like, Can we do that, please?
Yeah, that's when you brought up the consistency factor. This team has plenty of times played up to competition and then also played down to competition. And that, you just can't have that because it erases moments like these where it's like you did just earn 2 super difficult points in matchups where if you are fully healthy, you're already less talented than the other team you're lined up against. But then when you take away all the subtractions that we've had, you're even way more behind the 8 ball. So yes, the consistency will be huge, but respect was a good word for that. And again, they're building a lot of character, continuity. And I thought you said what you said was really good there about everyone doing their role last night, because Duber's not going to get on the score sheet. Ilya is not going to be on the score sheet. Svati, BHI, not going to be on there. But like when you watched that game last night and saw those 4 dudes and really trying to find ways to clog up that midfield, obviously we talked about some highlights where there's some poor defense, but there was some really solid defense.
Yes.
For the majority of that game.
When you do your job, when you do your simple job, it usually doesn't end up in the notes.
Correct. So top to bottom, everyone. I mean, even Kalmanich comes in, right? He has that cheeky little left foot move that we've never seen before, and that was spicy. So shout out to everyone, especially the coaching staff as well, because this was a good performance. Had those guys ready to go.
Yeah. Well, I did want to read from Phil, right, who is the one responsible for asking questions of PRO on Austin's behalf, and the official word from PRO on the non-call penalty was, quote, "The referee deemed the contact to be minimal and did not justify a penalty. The VAR checked the play and determined that it was not a clear and obvious error." And if that contact from that kick to the shin is minimal, then there's just no fouls.
Again,
ridiculous.
Punishing a dude for not trying to trick you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He got fouled. He clearly got fouled. He got kicked hard, and then he got swept through. He continued through that. Again, whatever. I'm not going to let
look now. Now I'm not trying to get you angry.
I'm not going to let those nerds dampen my mood, man.
Well, I mean, we got to meet Ryan last night at the game,
hell yeah,
which was awesome. So great to meet you, man. And like, I know we met a number of other folks out there.
Yeah.
But that stuck out for sure, because Ryan, you said too many nice things to us, man. And we appreciate the support.
Fellow Hilltopper too, so we'll take that.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Shout out Carlos, who came up, dapped me up, said he loved the pod, man. I appreciate it.
Nice.
Hope you had a good time. Hope you had a good trip. But we love meeting folks. We love hearing good things, bad things about the pod, what have you. You know.
Yeah.
We're in it.
Well, I want to close out this portion here with a listener question from Tex Rex. He said, "We see internal MLS trades from time to time. Is there any chance we could see a trade scenario?" And this question was asked before the match. "Is there any chance we could see a trade scenario for a team that could better utilize and need a player like Azuni, and we get a better center attacking mid or a right wing in return that would fill both teams' needs?" I think first part for me, I don't think any team is trading for Mirtu Azuni right now, because he's going to take a DP slot unless we keep the money on our books, which would be terrible roster building. And I also don't think we don't need a right wing. When we're healthy, that's Facu Torres. And our attacking midfielder, I would think, would be Owen Wolf. So, like, let's just get healthy. But again, don't get it twisted that I'm still on Team sell Azuni if you can in the summer and get a better fit. But maybe we're just not healthy till then. We just need him the rest of the way. Who knows? New context will be provided.
Yeah, I mean, positive play from him the last 2 games. Absolutely. Love to see it. I just don't know if there's an avenue for that, for an intra-league trade where you're moving on from here to, like you talked about, the contract situation and then getting something in return. It's just the parallels between MLS and your NBAs or your NFLs. They're just really not there. Like, those trades don't really go down. I'd much rather sell the guy and replace him with something else than pull from someone in MLS. But if Tex Rex, if you got a name, I'll listen.
We love playing trade machine.
Yeah, I'll listen if you got somebody you want to talk about, but I just don't see that happening.
Well, anything else you want to talk about, like, from the Miami trip? I mean, one thing I would say, like, going out to the beach was awesome. And just like me personally, I wanted to walk South Beach, and I wanted to go see like the Clevelander, because Highly Questionable is my favorite sports talk show of all time, and The Birdcage is one of my favorite movies of all time. So saw the Carlisle too, took a picture out there. But like the vibe down there, the architecture, the weather, was phenomenal.
Yeah, great personality. I think one of the first things we said was like, damn, it's really nice to not just have a fucking chain store at every single block. It's like McDonald's, Walgreens, CVS, gun store, liquor store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Where the fuck you taking me?
So I thought I appreciated that about the city. Obviously, the weather was beautiful. I had a great time at the beach. I got in. I know your hip there was bothering you. Speaking of injuries, man, even the podcasters are hurt for this club.
Yeah.
You got my nose, you got your hip. That's how banged up we are. Yeah, all in all, I definitely had the Miami experience.
Yeah. Well, we were staying kind of in Little Havana there, right? And one of the first things we noticed is, we got there, put the bags down, went to walk, try to walk to the stores over there, see if we could grab some food, grab some drinks. And the first thing we noticed is, man, there's chickens and roosters everywhere.
Rooster?
Rooster? Like grackle, pigeon, squirrel type population of chickens and roosters.
Yep.
And, it's kind of a part of the culture down there, right? And the Caribbean and everything. And that's one complaint I think I have. Is that these fucking I thought roosters cock-a-doodle dude when the sun came up, dude.
Yeah.
There's a rooster outside my room at the Airbnb, 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. all 3 nights.
Yeah.
I started sleeping with my damn noise cancelers in, dude. Like, I just don't get it.
Dude, I was contemplating stop being vegetarian. Go out there and eat that thing, man. Because it was ridiculous. It wasn't even when the sun was coming up ever. And it was just like, that's when it started. But yeah, that was pretty funny. He was like, oh, there's a rooster. Oh, there's another rooster. Oh, there's 7 roosters. Yeah. They have babies. Yeah. They're populating.
Chicken files.
Man, I would love to see the stadium when it's done, but for right now, you're getting a fucking D- from me in regard to the stadium. You weren't ready to go, but I would love to see it when it's done. It's probably going to be super cool. And it was a really, really fun trip. I'm glad that we got to do that together. Our first out-of-state trip like that.
There you go. And a successful one, I would say. And I would also shout out Sandwich, which was, fantastic sandwiches.
I heard.
A little Cuban there. AG, on his shit. Getting the second one to go for the late night post game. Cuban, I was so jealous. He gave me a bite because he's that kind of guy. But
he is that kind of guy. He's also the kind of guy who will just come up and bite your food.
Yeah, true.
And so you're like, because I just remember one time I was just sitting there just eating a bowl of chili, and just the next thing I know, there's a second spoon in there, and he just fucking took a big old bite of it. And I was like, bro, that's spicy as shit. You're not gonna like it. And he did not. Yeah, man. Shout out to David Goss and Megan. That was really that made our experience a little more special for sure. For sure.
Absolutely. Anything else for you on the trip or this game?
No, sir.
And if we could have essentially a boy factory.
The boy factory, hard work in the first team quality. Today's academy. Can't you see? Tomorrow's Austin FC.
Nobody clip boy factory and use that.
I see you trying to hold. No, you're holding back the laughter in that. I saw you.
Grumpy.
Hey, shout out. Saw Landon out there too.
Yeah.
And Ashley. Great to see them. Great to see Kevin Trahan and meet Maddie as well. So,
I saw Phil too on the plane.
Oh yeah, you told me Phil was on the plane. I didn't see him. I think I was making a beeline for my seat to try to close my eyes a little bit, man.
Feel ya.
So, Boy Factory, episode 296 of the North End Podcast. This is the U14s who were out at the Dallas Cup. And this was a group stage and then knockout tournament after the group stage. And good God, U14s. 2-0 over the KCL Legends. 1-0 over DKSC. 4-1 over North Toronto. So you sweep the group stage. 2-0 victory over the Dallas Texans in the quarters. 2-1 victory over Goke in the semifinals. So we had the final, I want to say Saturday, may have been earlier today. Weekend is a blur with everything that we were doing. And you get to the final 2-2, drop it in PKs 5-4. But this was the Eintracht Frankfurt academy U14s coming over from Germany there. So, you'd imagine that's a pretty well-oiled machine, given that that's a German club that I recognize.
Yep.
So they come in, they get the better of the U14s in PKs. Hell of a weekend, man. 5 wins and a draw. We'll take that.
Absolutely. No shame in dropping that, man. But that would have been nice to get that. But dang, tough, but impressive showing there. That's awesome.
Anything else for you here, man, before we shut it down?
No, all good.
All right, everybody. We appreciate you tuning in, sticking with us here on episode 296 of the North End Podcast. We are back on Wednesday, previewing the first team's home match against LA Galaxy, previewing the second team's return to play against Dyna Dos, and of course, talking about everything else that happens in the Austin FC universe between now and then. I think we might be happy about some of that nonsense too. We'll have to see when the scores are calculated. And for the Patreon members, keep an eye out for a potential best ball specific Patreon only podcast, because I think we're going to be maybe talking some shit about some of the picks you guys made. You requested it.
Yeah.
We will provide maybe some Patreon content of the Miami trip. We'll see what we can whip up this week, but either way, appreciate you for tuning in, sticking with us. Back on Wednesday for another episode. Enjoy the beginning of your week. We'll do the same, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Till then, easy. And I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.